friends, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Gauteng Council of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, I welcome you to this year's Yom Hashoah Day of Remembrance. It is on this day that we gather as a community to remember the 6 million Jews who were murdered by the regime of the Nazi Germany during World War II. A central theme of Yom HaShoah in recent years has been passing the torch of remembrance to the next generation. This year, we acknowledge 80 years since the Warsaw Ghetto uprising and resistance, one of the most important and dramatic chapters in the history of World War II. In the introductory part of the program, we have the opportunity of hearing from Danielle Katz, granddaughter of our keynote speaker, Ella Blumenthal. This will be preceded by a song performed by Leah Noodleman. Following a short break, the traditional ceremony will commence at 12 o'clock. I thank you all for joining us on this solemn day of solidarity and remembrance.
Hello, my name is Lee Noodleman, and thank you for this opportunity to perform for you today. And thank you to Crystal Burkholtz, who will be performing this song with me. We are going to perform the song Freeling, Springtime, written as a poem by Shmeka Kaczynski and set to music by Avram Bradno. The song epitomizes the death and hopelessness experienced by Jews living in ghettos throughout the Holocaust. Shmeka Kaczynski writes about his wife who dies in the ghetto. He writes, "I wander through the ghetto from lane to lane. Useless, I find no solace. My beloved is gone, and no one says a word." He continues, "Springtime, upon your wings of blue, oh, take my heart with you and bring love back to me." Despite Kaczynski's deep personal loss, he and other writers in the ghetto collected and hid Jewish cultural works. He managed to survive the Holocaust and spent his short life dedicated to recovering and writing books and songbooks of 233 Holocaust songs and poems. As Crystal and I perform his song Freeling, we will remember Shmeka Kaczynski, his bravery in the face of death and hopelessness, and his unwavering dedication to saving Yiddishkeit for us.
Ich plonge in Ghetto, von Gessel zu Gessel, und kann nicht gewinnen genug. Nicht ho ist mein Lieber, wie tragt Männer Ribbe, Menschen, als sagt rechter Wort. Nicht ho ist mein Heimels, der Himmel, der Bläue, wo hab ich jetzt der Fuß. Ich steh wie ein Bettler bei jedem Teuer und bettel a bissel Sonn. Frühling, nimm zu mein Treue und bring mein Liebsten, mein Treue zurück. Frühling, ab deiner Flügelbläue, ohne mein Herz mit und gib es ob mein Glück. ganze Stiebel in Treue der Treue vermocht. Der Tag aufzerrte, die Blumen verwelkte, sei seinen Verseelsucht noch. Der Nacht auf zurückwächst es Neue, der Treue und doch zuliebste gewahrt. Und dahin am Schatten noch kennt ich dein Trottis, Blechs kuschen mich lieblich und sacht. Frühling, nimm so mein Treue und bring mein Liebsten, mein Treue zurück. Frühling, und deine Flecke Blume, und mein Herz singt, und gib es auf mein Glück. Frühling, und deine Flecke Blume, und mein Herz singt, und gib es auf mein Glück.
Today, I stand before you with immense pride as I share the incredible story of a woman who is not only a Holocaust survivor, but also my fierce and phenomenal grandmother. Her courage, resilience, and wit have left an indelible mark on our lives and has shown us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine bright. Growing up with my grandmother has been an unforgettable journey filled with humor and invaluable insights. Her relentless vigor has served as a compass throughout my life, instilling in me the significance of determination, joy, and affection. One poignant story that I'd like to share is about the time when my gran and her niece Roma were in Auschwitz. Roma, in utter despair, insisted that they end their lives by running into the electric fence surrounding the camp. But my gran wasn't ready to give up on life. She convinced Roma to postpone the decision, saying, "Let's do it tomorrow." Each time Roma begged, my gran repeated the same response, giving them both one more day of life and of hope. This has been a guiding principle that I aspire to embody each time I encounter difficulty in my life. Another story that illustrates my gran's unwavering principles took place during her time in Auschwitz. She was offered a role as head of her blockhouse, which would require her to report back to the Nazis and provide them with information about her fellow prisoners. This role would have granted her some privileges and relative comfort, but at the cost of betraying her people. My gran immediately refused the offer, choosing to endure further suffering herself rather than be responsible for the suffering of others. If given the chance, To reflect on her life and experiences, she asserts that she would willingly face every challenge again rather than compromise on her core principles. A touching moment occurred about 3 years ago when my son was born. The significance of my gran, who has been like a second mother to me, meeting my child was profound. It's a rare privilege to have a 99-year age gap between a son and his great-grandmother, and even rarer for them to share such a deep connection. I'm incredibly grateful for these treasured memories that will forever be etched in my heart. Despite the unimaginable hardships she faced, my gran emerged from the darkness with an open heart. This boundless capacity for love and understanding is testament to the resilience of the human spirit and a lesson we can all learn from. It is through her that I've come to understand the true meaning of perseverance, optimism, love, and to never let go of the unbreakable human spirit that resides within each and every one of us. Thank you.
From Kozile, Etka Apkovica, age 4, perished Warszawa, 1942. From Netherlands, Jacob Gokes, age 42, perished Sobibor, 1943. From Romania, Josef Ivania, age 54, perished Ukraine, 1942. From Hungary, Naftali Kalle, age 69, perished Auschwitz, 1944.
From Poland, Itzhak Shabsa, age 18, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From Kobylnik, Chava Dimenstein, age 6, perished Warszawa, 1943. From Czechoslovakia, Josef Steinberg, age 55, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From Kalisz, Ruti Orbach, age 8, perished Warszawa, 1942.
From Poland, Sendel Applebaum, age 37, perished Treblinka, 1941. From Poland, Stephanie Arnold, age 32, perished Belzec, 1942. From Sosnowiec, Fagla Quintner, age 7, perished Warszawa, 1941. From Romania, Abba Shekhta, age 43, perished Romania, 1941.
From Romania, Maya Mittelman, age 39, perished Ukraine, 1941. From USSR, Moishe Golub, age 41, perished Minsk, 1943. From Warszawa, Leah Hellman, age 8, perished Treblinka, 1942. From Germany, Lena Lewandowski, age 68, perished Sobibor, 1943.
From Piotrkow, Faja Fizpan, age 5, perished Warszawa, 1944. From Belgium, Chaya Licolat, age 36, perished Auschwitz, 1943. From Poland, Machla Idelstein, age 28, perished Majdanek, 1942. From Warszawa, Motal Eppelbaum, age 8, perished Warszawa, 1941.
From Poland, Brania Baum, age 11, perished Treblinka, 1942. From Yugoslavia, Marika Beck, age 10, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From Hungary, Istvan Engel, age 49, Auschwitz, 1944. From Warszawa, Yitzhak Pinchovsky, age 7, Treblinka, 1942.
From Hungary, Arlen Goldman, age 44, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From Czechoslovakia, Morris Steinberg, age 35, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From Czechoslovakia, Otto Sternlicht, age 40, perished Treblinka, 1942. From USSR, Misha Taub, age 41, perished Odessa, Ukraine, 1941.
From Warszawa, Marek Lichtenbaum, age 4, perished Sani, 1942. From Romania, Yedel Gutman, age 22, perished Ukraine, USSR, 1942. From Poland, Shaw Levenstein, age 78, perished Poland, 1943. From Hungary, Jeno Ikovic, age 44, perished
Auschwitz, 1944.
From USSR, Shimon Brandes, age 43, perished Ukraine, USSR, 1941. From Warsaw, Hanna Sazalat, age 1, perished Lazkarizu, 1943. From USSR, Elena Aderman, age 47, perished Babi Yar, 1942. From Austria, Mathilda Eisner, age 50, perished Minsk, Belarusia, 1942.
From Bilsko, Tadeusz Zelberstein, age 5, perished Warsaw, 1943. From Austria, Hans Ament, age 10, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From USSR, Lee Benenson, age 2, perished Minsk, 1941. From France, David Efferman, age 28, perished Auschwitz, 1942.
From Hungary, Caitlin Klein, age 59, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From Poland, Wolf Splater, age 29, perished Auschwitz, 1942. From Czechoslovakia, Sarah Lieberman, age 27, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From Poland, Israel Paste, age 32, perished Ukraine, 1942.
From Czechoslovakia, Bo Herskowitz, age 31, perished Auschwitz, 1944. From Warsaw, Pesa Rothschild, aged 5, perished Treblinka, 1943. From Den Haag, Robbie van Metz, aged 10, perished Auschwitz, 1943. From Bucharest, Tamara Schwartz, aged 4, perished Black Sea, 1942.
Please can I ask Noah and Gilana to come up?
לכל איש יש שם, זלדה.
Everyone has a name.
לכל איש יש שם, שנתן לו אלוקים, ונתנו לו אביו ואמו. לכל איש יש שם, שנתנו לו קומתו, ואופן חיוכו, ונתן לו האריג.
Everyone has a name given to him by God and given to him by his parents. Everyone has a name given to him by his stature and the way he smiles, and given to him by his clothing.
לכל איש יש שם, שנתנו לו הערים, ונתנו לו כתליו. לכל איש יש שם, שנתנו לו המזלות, ונתנו לו שכניו.
Everyone has a name given to him by the mountains and given to him by the walls. Everyone has a name given to him by the stars and given to him by his neighbors.
לכל איש יש שם, שנתנו לו חטאיו, ונתנה לו כמיהתו. לכל איש יש שם, שנתנו לו שונאיו, ונתנה לו אהבתו.
Everyone has a name given to him by his sins and given to him by his longing. Everyone has a name given to him by his enemies and given to him by his love.
לכל איש יש שם, שנתנו לו חגיו, ונתנה לו מלאכתו. לכל איש יש שם, שנתנו לו תקופות השנה, ונתן לו עברונו. לכל איש יש שם, שנתן לו הים, ונתן לו מותו.
Everyone has a name given to him by his holidays and given to him by his work. Everyone has a name given to him by the seasons and given to him by his blindness. Everyone has a name given to him by the sea and given to him by his death.
Deputy Ambassador of Israel to South Africa, Adi Cohen Hazanov, esteemed Rabbonim, members of the Diplomatic Corps, honored guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Gauteng Council of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, I welcome you to this year's Yom HaShoah commemorative ceremony. On Yom HaShoah, Jews the world over remember the 6 million Jewish victims murdered at the hands of Nazi Germany and their collaborators during World War II. However, it is not only to remember and to mourn that we have come together today, but also to commit ourselves anew to fighting the evils that made this unspeakable crime against humanity possible, as once again, wave of anti-Semitism, hate crimes, and racist conduct must be stopped now. Tomorrow marks the 80th anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. On 19 April 1943, those marked out for genocide launched a desperate but withal heroic campaign of armed resistance against their murderers. The uprising helped give birth to a new spirit of defiance in the Jewish people, a determination to ensure that never again would they be helpless in the face of those who seek their destruction. The State of Israel is testimony to the bravery, not simply grief. Am Yisrael Chai. In recent years, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising has come to be symbolized by daffodils. The origins of this tradition are that for many years, Marek Edelman, the last surviving leader of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, a Polish cardiologist, would receive anonymously a bouquet of yellow daffodils on the 19th of April each year. These he would lay at the monument to the ghetto heroes in memory of those who fought and died in the resistance. After his death in 2009, that tradition has been continued. You are invited to go to the board's Facebook page and continue the tradition tomorrow. Today, we are privileged to hear the video testimony of Ella Blumenthal, who was present in the Warsaw Ghetto during this time. She was later sent to Majdanek and Treblinka death camps, but survived to be liberated by the Allied armies. Of her 23 immediate family members, only Ella and one of her nieces survived, and Ella went on to build a new life for herself in South Africa. Her inspirational story was the subject of the acclaimed 2021 documentary, I Am Here, which documented her life in the Warsaw Ghetto and the death camps. We are also privileged to have Ella's daughter, Evelyn Kaplan, speaking in person about her mother's legacy and what she has learned from Ella. Ella Blumenthal, may your light continue to illuminate. As we gather here today, let us remember that the aim of the Nazi regime was to annihilate every Jew in the world. The Holocaust is an orphan with no comfort and a moral responsibility without compromise. It does not permit us, the Jewish people, to turn a blind eye, and it must always be a warning to the entire human family. We too, therefore, need to see ourselves as being survivors of the Holocaust Being a survivor carries with it a responsibility to infuse meaning into our lives, to contribute in whatever way we can to building a world founded on justice and compassion. Through this, we help to give meaning to those innocent victims, whether in the death camps or in the long battle to rid the world of the Nazi scourge. Vigilance is needed now and in the future. In the words of former Chief Rabbi Israel Meir Lau, we must not speak of the 6 million who were butchered or of the 1.5 million children who were murdered. The human mind cannot process either emotionally or experientially the concept of millions of people. Rather, we must speak of the individual story. A perfect example of the impact of an individual would be Ella. To all of you, and in particular to the younger generation represented here today, I say welcome and thank you for joining us on this very important occasion of observance for the Gauteng Jewish community. We must never forget, it is time to stand up, if not now, when? We now come to the traditional lighting of 6 memorial lamps. As in the past, we are privileged to have amongst us survivors to perform this function in commemorating the 6 million Jews murdered in the Holocaust.
Irene Klaas is a Warsaw Ghetto survivor. Born in Lodz, Poland, she was 8 years old when the Nazis evicted the family from their house, and they were confined to the Warsaw Ghetto under terrible conditions for over 2 years. Her father, who managed to remain outside the ghetto, helped Irene escape. He subsequently disappeared without a trace. Irene reunited with her mother, who had also escaped, and they lived in hiding until liberation. Reverend Joseph Matzner, born in 1935 in France, endured the fate of the hidden child. In 1940, his family fled from Strasbourg to escape the Nazi occupation and stayed in Vichy, France. Separated from his family, Joseph had to live in hiding, with the loneliness and insecurity that went with that. He stayed for 3 years in a convent and then with a private Catholic family till the end of the war, when he was reunited with his family. We would also like to call up Lionel Fliss to light this candle. Helen Lehman was living in Pultusk, Poland, when the Nazis invaded. The family was forced to assemble in a park with other Jews where they were terrorized and stripped of their possessions. They were then forced to the Russian border with no food or money. Farmers along the way were warned not to assist them. Helen's father left Warsaw to find her older brother and sister. None of them were heard of again. After arriving in Russia, she was sent with her mother and younger sister to Siberia. They were only allowed to leave Russia after the war. Fanny Daniel was born in 1943 in Casablanca, Morocco. With support for the Jews coming from King Mohammed V, no one was sent to extermination camps, but under the Vichy regime, French regulations, the family and other Moroccan Jews were confined to the Jewish quarters. Food was short and there were illnesses. Fanny and her family were saved from further persecution when the Allies forcibly removed the Nazis from North Africa. Shlomo Schwarzman Ben Shachar was born in a ghetto in Transnistria, Romania in 1941. He lived there with his family until its liberation by the Red Army in 1944. As a baby and as a toddler, Shlomo suffered from lack of food, warmth, and security. He subsequently immigrated from Israel to South Africa in 1991. Tekla Sarah Chalmers was born in Holland near the German border in November 1944. She was born in a nunnery as her parents were on the run from the Nazis. With the exception of one aunt and one uncle who miraculously survived Auschwitz, Tekla's entire extended family on both sides perished in concentration camps. There is a plaque in Westerbork in Holland bearing all the family names.
Dear and distinguished guests, Holocaust survivors, rabbis, the representative of the Jewish community and their members, I am honored to join you today as we gather to remember and honor the victims of the Holocaust. Hashoah was a moment of unspeakable horror where the values that we hold so dear, tolerance, compassion, and human dignity were completely discarded. The Holocaust is our national scar, not only for the Jewish people, but for all humanity. In my previous position in Lithuania, 2 years ago, I participated in a ceremony next to Telšiai, honoring two families, Straupis and Karpauskas, righteous among the nations, who hid approximately 25 Jews for almost 3 years. At the ceremony, I told the story of the rescue, assuming that the majority of the guests are not familiar with. During those 3 years, as I told, and against all odds, a baby was born to one of the Jewish families. At that moment, from the edge of the room, a woman stood up and announced, "I'm that baby." Her name was Israela Blatt, and the following day we met and she told me her unbelievable story about kindness and courageous, a rare vision during those dark days. Unfortunately, last year Israela passed away in Israel. I feel privileged to be able to spend time with her and to listen to her remarkable story of survival. This year, we mark the 80th anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, a heroic and determined effort by the Jewish fighters to resist the Nazis and to defend the right to exist. Their bravery in the face of overwhelming odds inspired other acts of resistance by Jews, including partisans' activity in the forests and in ghettos. Those two reflections over bravery and resistance, the story of the righteous among the nations and the fighters of the Ghetto Warsaw Uprising, are a torch in the dark. They should lead our way and remind us that we have the power to make a difference, to stand up against hatred, and to create a better future. We must also pledge to never forget the lesson of this tragedy. We must continue to educate future generations about the horrors of the Holocaust, just like Israela Blatt, Zichrona Livracha, did with me, so that we can understand the importantness of standing up against intolerance and hatred. Mordechai Nalevich, one of the leaders of the revolt, wrote, "Their fate is sealed. The fate of many had indeed been sealed, too many for human hearts to comprehend. But here today, we are changing that fate. The establishment of the State of Israel is one of the most significant events in the history of the Jewish people. It was a moment of hope and triumph. Israel is a testament to the resilience and strength of our nation. It is the cradle of the Jewish nation and our homeland, where for the first time in centuries, we can live freely and securely. In the face of anti-Semitic attacks and attempts to doubt the legitimacy of the State of Israel, we stand firm in our belief in the Jewish people's right to self-determination. We vow to carry on the legacy of those who perished in the Holocaust and reaffirm our commitment to never forget their sacrifice. Thank you.
When a young Jewish inmate of the Vilna ghetto, Hirsch Glick, heard the news of the 1943 Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, he was inspired to write the lyrics of what is popularly known as the partisan song. Glick's lyrics were set to music from a pre-war Soviet song written by the Pokras brothers, Dmitry and Daniel Pokras. It became the anthem of the Jewish underground resistance movement in World War II, and is perhaps the best-known Yiddish song created during the Holocaust. It spread with remarkable rapidity to other ghettos and camps. The song is powerful and defiantly optimistic, acknowledging Jewish suffering in the past and present, and urging the Jewish people to continue fighting for their survival. In addition to raising the morale of fighters against the Nazis, it can also be an inspiration to new generations, if they know about it. To ensure that this magnificent song and its stirring message is not lost, World ORT is currently supporting a campaign to introduce it to school children across the world. The result has moved groups of students at World ORT schools in Kiev, Odessa, Kishinev, Vilnius, Chernivtsi, Tallinn, Moscow, Kazan, Samara, and Mexico to prepare videos for Yom HaShoah singing the anthem. The various renditions can be accessed on the internet.
Please rise.
Sag nicht keinmal, dass du gehst im letzten Weg, wenn Himmeln bleien, verstehen Leute. Kommen wird doch unser Eisgewähnte Schau, es wird erbeugten unser Trott, wir seinen da. Kommen wird doch unser Eisgewähnte Schau, es wird erbeugten unser Trott, wir seinen da. Im Palmenland bis Land von weißem Schnee. Wir kommen an mit unser Bein, mit unser Weg. Und wo gefallen ist ein Spritz von unser Blut, sprotzen weg dort unser Chore, unser Mund. Und wo gefallen ist ein Spritz von unser Blut, sprotzen weg dort unser Chore, unser Mund. Die Morgensonne vergilden uns dem Hai, und der Nächten wird verschwinden mitten frei. Nur heute versammeln wird die Sonne in dem Kajor, wie a Parol so geht das Lied von dort zu dort. Nur heute versammeln wird die Sonne in dem Kajor, wie a Parol so geht das Lied von dort zu dort. Ist das Lied mit Blut und mit Blut. Es ist nicht kein Lied von der Folge läuft der frei. Das Wort davon zu wischen fallen dicke Welt. Das Lied gesungen mit ner Gannes in die Hände. Das Wort davon zu wischen fallen dicke Welt. Das Lied gesungen mit ner Gannes in die Hände. Keinmal, lass du gehst im letzten Weg, wenn Himmeln bleien, verstellen Leute. Kommen wird doch unser Ausgewähnte Show, Partisanen, Partisanen, Partisanen.
You may be seated.
Hello to you all. I am Ella Blumenthal, and I believe so, I am 101 year old. Believe it or not, I am here. And I've got in front of me my daughter, Evelyn Kaplan, who looks after me like an angel. Mother Teresa, another one. And her daughter, Jade, who is smiling at me always and gives me courage.
My mom is a survivor who has survived the Warsaw Ghetto. She survived Majdanek, Auschwitz, and Bergen-Belsen. And God has spared her to be with us today. During COVID, I was walking with you, if you remember, on the balcony during the lockdown. And I told you how terrible, how depressing things were with COVID and how gloomy everything looked. And I felt so depressed myself. And then you looked out at the same view that I was looking out at, and you said, but look at the beautiful sea and look at the beautiful mountain. It's still here. God made everything. COVID will go away.
But the beauty of the world will stay forever.
So how do you always see the positive side of everything?
I tell you what I see when I wake up in the morning, and I see the world and I see the light and the sun is coming up. I never close my curtains because I want to see the dawn coming in. How come that I am here after all this suffering and tragedy that I went through? Unbelievable. But I know that I have got to carry on, because I always feel that the world is beautiful and we must not forget to be thankful and to believe that tomorrow will bring a better day.
I remember growing up, and we would go to shul on Yom Kippur, and it was the end. We've been fasting the whole day, and I remember feeling so tired, and it was the last hour of the fast, and I would look at you in your 90s at that point, and you would be standing the whole time, unwavering, no problem, and I looked to you, if you can do that, then I should do that too. And I want to ask you, how have you maintained your faith, your firm belief?
It's very difficult to explain it to you because it's in me. I never lost faith in Hashem. Never, even in the darkest days of my life. I always knew that I will get through it. I will survive. I'm going to go on. I'm going to live. I'm going to tell the world what has been happening to me and to all the Jewish people.
There's terrible discrimination and rampant anti-Semitism in the world today. What is your message to people or to anybody to try and to appreciate what you went through and to give a message to the people of the world? today?
I feel that it's so wrong that people get out their arms and they fight each other. We should not blame each other for different color or different religion. Oh, we must speak to each other, sit down and exchange our views, and then we'll find we'll be all one nation, because we're all the same. We're God's creatures.
This year marks the 80th year in commemoration of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, and you were there.
I was. We heard the Nazis marching in for their usual routinely looking for people, searching. But suddenly they were met by Molotov cocktails. There was shooting coming down from rooftop and windows. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was on, and the Germans were taken by surprise. Believe it, there was Nazi blood flowing in the streets of the Warsaw Ghetto. But unfortunately, they couldn't stand up to the mighty, well-equipped German army. And the uprising was crushed. They set the ghetto on fire, building by building. There was no option. We had to come out. The sight of the burning ghetto is forever in my eyes, in front of me. I can never erase it from my mind. And the smell of the burning feathers from the beddings is forever in my nostrils.
What was your life like before the ghetto in Praga, in Warsaw?
Yes. I was leading a very, very happy life because I was the youngest in my family out of 7 children. And I was a very naughty child. And I am still now even naughty. You'll ask my daughter and everybody who lives with me.
Mischief.
But I love it like this. It mustn't just go flat and sad. I liked to have my life to be happy, to be around me. And did you ask me about my life? Before the war. Because I was a happy child, and it's in me. So even the ghetto and the concentration camps did not change it in me. I remained the same, and I remember everything that happened to me, the joyful days and the sad days, and I am here, which is most important. Ani po.
A few years ago, I went on March of the Living, where I went to Poland, and walking through the grounds of Majdanek, it was hard for me to comprehend that my grandmother, someone who I've grown up with, I've spent so much time with, was there, physically there, and walking into the gas chamber and seeing the scratch marks on the wall, and I struggled to believe that was you were there, and I want you to tell me about the story.
I know the middle of the night it was so quiet. We were actually, we women were chased from the women's camp into the men's camp, which was most unusual. And we were chased, and it was written, it is a bathhouse. But when we got there, we realized that it wasn't a bathhouse. It was a gas chamber, and we could feel that the poisonous gas would come down any minute. That was, our lives were just on seconds. And I was holding my niece's hand, and I was whispering to her, don't be afraid. I don't think it will hurt. I realize, and I think it won't even take long. We will soon be together, join our families who are there, up there. So don't be afraid. And at this moment, as I finished talking to her, the heavy doors opened, and an assessment got in with his heavy boots. We could hear him. He says, you are not going to be guests. We couldn't believe it. We thought it's just another trick of the Germans. I am sitting here telling you this. It's a proper, believe it, a miracle, God, that I am here telling you about it.
It's important for the next generation to take these lessons that you've taught, that you embody, and take forward into the world and use this as a way to heal a lot of the issues in the world, how to treat people, how to view situations, how to be positive. And that's what you've given me, what you've taught me, and what I'm going to take forward with me
to next generations.
The responsibility is on us to take your light and shine it onto not only the next generation,
to the world,
to teach people how to be tolerant and how to be loving and how to be understanding and how not to hate. Because if the message isn't understood, we can see that this could happen again.
Why we say I'm here? Just to remember what has happened, what it can happen. While I always say, I keep on saying, Baruch Hashem, ani po. It is because I feel it's a miracle. It's something unbelievable that I am here, sitting, speaking to you, telling you about my terrible life, the experiences, and that I was dying so many times, and I am still here. So I am repeating to you, Baruch Hashem, ani po, and I'm repeating and telling you, remember, this must never be forgotten.
And that's maybe very relevant because the theme this year is we are here. So I think it's very pertinent that you say that, because at the end of the day, I am here because of you, and you have a granddaughter and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and a big legacy. So we are here because of you and your survival. Growing up with a parent who is a Holocaust survivor, you know you are different, but you don't know why. You know that your mom is special, not like any other mom, but you don't know why. You know that there's an undercurrent of something going on, but you don't know what it is. You know that your family is unlike any other family, that you have no grandparents, no uncles or aunts, but you accept it. You know that there is something about your mom that needs protection. You sense a vulnerability about her, and you know that you have to protect her with all your might from any further harm. You feel it in your bones, and you know that you are going to do it for the rest of your life. You don't know why, but you know you are going to do it. You ask her about a long scar on her arm, and she tells you a detailed story of a car accident and how glass cut into her arm. You picture this vivid tale in your head, and you accept the explanation. You are awoken during the night with her crying out from a nightmare. You run to her and you shake her awake, and she tells you, "They're taking my children from me." And you hug her and you reassure her and you say, "Mom, I'm here. No one is taking me." This happens again and again. You don't understand it, but you accept it. You dutifully sit next to her in shul, and you notice that she weeps openly during the Kohanim duchening. You look around and you see that no one else is crying, and you ask her why. And she tells you that her father and her brothers were Kohanim, and that this reminds her of home. And you try to console her. You see a framed black and white picture taking pride of place on her mantelpiece of a family. And you ask her who these people are. And then, when you're old enough to understand, she tells you that this is your grandfather, your grandmother, your uncles and aunts, and that this was the last picture taken of them in the Warsaw Ghetto, and the only remnant she has of her entire family. And then she tells you how 23 members of her family were ripped away from her. You grow older and you try to process what happened to her. You struggle with this. You see a woman who lives her life according to Hashem's rules and some of her own too. A woman not defined by her past, full of life, with verve and vigor, strong, sassy, smart, feisty, and forthright. But you know that you still need to protect her. You now know that the Holocaust did not end with the liberation of the concentration camps in 1945, but that the impact on your generation has been so profound that it has forever altered the genetic code. Medical studies in epigenetics have shown that the DNA of children can be altered through the trauma of their parents. It is a fact that genocide did not end with liberation, but continues to wreak havoc on future generations. You know this, but it doesn't lighten the load. You ask yourself why your mom was chosen to survive. But deep down, you know the answer. You feel and see what an influence she has, not only on your life, but with everybody with whom she comes into contact. You see how she lights up her room when she enters it. You watch her with people. Even strangers are enwrapped with her larger-than-life personality and her story of survival. What you don't know is that COVID will arrive and change everything. With the lockdown, she reluctantly moves into your home permanently. You then begin to understand what a blessing this has been. What a privilege it is to care for her. What a privilege to be able to have her in your and your family's space, day and night. To learn from her on a daily basis, her positivity, her love of life and people, that tomorrow is another day, the sun will rise, and there is a new promise in each new day. You learn that a 101-year-old lady can be adept at Facebook, FaceTime, Instagram, emails, and of late, Zoom webinars. You see her being in touch with her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and friends from all over the world, swiping this way and that on her smartphone, imparting wisdom and giving advice, whether it's asked for or not. There's an unwritten rule that no decision is made without Granny's okay first. That's the way this family rules. You learn her lesson of life, that hatred begets hatred, that differences should be overcome through dialogue, and that you carry a hefty responsibility of passing on her baton of tolerance and understanding. You know that you will carry her legacy with you forever. You know that you will keep her fire burning within you forever. You also know that you were right all along. As a child, you felt it in your bones. You didn't understand it then, but now you do. And now you feel it even more urgently than before. Your mom is so very special, and she is a hero. But now, we all know why. And as my mother says so eloquently in her memoir, which is being released today on Yom Hashoah, I survived the Warsaw Ghetto, the gas chambers of Majdanek, the depravity of Auschwitz, and the utter hopelessness of Bergen-Belsen. I lost my parents, my brothers, my sisters, their spouses, and their children. But for me, while abnormal, this is not extraordinary. That I went on to love, to talk, to write, to have toast and tea, and to live my life. That is what is extraordinary.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, special guests, and those around joining us for this very auspicious Yom Hashoah service. I believe that soldiers are very special people, put their lives on the line for the sake of maintaining peace. They're also special in their comradeship, which one develops amongst each other, whilst being on active service is unique. So in honor of the 6 million Jews who perished in the Holocaust, and the soldiers who died in the Second World War, I now recite the Ode to the Fallen. At the conclusion, I ask you to repeat after me, we will remember them. Ode to the Fallen. When you go home, tell of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. Our gift was great, but you must give a greater to complete the plan. We died, now you must nobly live to make man brother unto man. They shall grow old as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, or the years condemn. The going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Thank you.
Please rise and remain standing.
אל מלא רחמים, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים כזרוע הרקיע מזהירין את נשמות אחינו בני ישראל הקדושים והטהורים שנפלו בידי הרוצחים ונשפך דמם באושוויץ, מיידניק, טרבלינקה ובשאר מחנות השמד באירופה שנהרגו, שנשחטו ושנשרפו ושנטבעו ושנחנקו על קידוש השם בעבור שכל הקהל הקדוש הזה מתפללים ביד הזכרת נשמותיהם בגני עדן תהא מנוחתם. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסדר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו על משכבותם בשלום, ונאמר אמן.
Please join the reciting of the Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעולמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודש הבריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן דעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Israel mitanda zoyetu kosi sikalela tina lusapalwayo morena buluku sechava sa Yesu ufitisa tinwale masweye Sipuluke se chabasa Yesu se chabasa South Africa Eti blofa gonse himo Eti tipte fanonsier Orunsier Baptist Wat die Kranze anvertrieben Sounds the call to come together And united we shall stand Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land. Kolot balevat nima nefesh Yehudi omia ukvatem
Yisra Katima Hayin Letzion Sophia Od lo afta tikvatenu Hatikva bat shlot habayim Liotam choshi be'atzenu Be'eretz Zion Yerushalayim Liotam choshi be'atzenu